have stopped and started long enough. You keep saying, this time I'm serious, this time will be different, but 2 weeks later, you're back in the same cycle. And I want to talk about why and how we're gonna push past this and get consistent and get rooted. So let's get right into today's video. Today, I want to talk about why so many of us, especially as believers, stop and start so much. How do we break this spirit of inconsistency and start pushing forward? I want to get into the reasons why, and of course, how we are going to overcome this for 2026. Let's get right into it. Now, of course, when I talk to y'all about anything, chances are I have walked through it many times. I am someone who, up until about a year ago, never completed anything. I stopped and started so much, never finished, never followed through, and I constantly battled with this spirit of inconsistency. So I want to get into why we struggle so much with staying consistent, with stopping and starting. So let's get right into today's video. Of course, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Abby Faith, and I am a full-time Christian mentor, podcast host, and speaker out here equipping women to step out of fear and step boldly into what God has called them to do, to turn these ideas into impact. So if that is you, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you're gonna wanna come back. So I wanna get into the reasons we stop and start so much. Reason number one is because you're relying on motivation and not conviction. Motivation fades, conviction anchors you. Here's what I mean. If you are somebody that only pushes through due to motivation, you're watching the motivational videos, you're listening to the motivational podcast, you're listening to motivational sounds, music, whatever. If you are someone that purely bases how you move on motivation, then as soon as you become unmotivated, then everything you're doing gets pushed to the side. As soon as life throws curveballs at you, then you completely throw away whatever it is that you were working towards because you lose that motivation in the process and the craziness of life. Verse being anchored by your conviction. Verse having the conviction from God to do something, to follow through on something, to push past something. When you have that, you are more inclined to continue. You are more inclined to finish and to follow through because this is something that God has convicted you on. This is something that the Holy Spirit will continue to convict you on daily to help you show up better and to show up differently. So when you are rooted in that conviction, you have a much higher chance of following through on what you are doing. So if it's a business idea that you feel like God has given you, I want you to truly ask yourself, is this what God is calling me to? And why? If you have a conviction on why he's calling you into it, then you will not be as inclined to quit because it is something that is God-led. It is something that you are partnering with God on so that you can continue pushing through. And the option to stop becomes less and less because God is entrusting you to show up and execute the vision that he has given you. I want to reference a verse that I have been loving over the past couple weeks, and it is Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, which says, "Do not grow weary in doing good things, because at the proper time you will reap a harvest if you continue to do good." So make sure you are anchored in conviction, anchored with God, and not relying simply on motivation. Now, number two, in reasons why you keep stopping and starting. You are chasing speed and not stewardship. You want fast fruit instead of faithful root. You want every shortcut. You want to try to skip to the final chapter of the book without going through the process, without going through the pruning, without going through the stewardship process. You want to try to jump to the conclusion. You want to try to jump to the end, and you're chasing those fast results. You're chasing the get-rich-quick schemes. You're chasing the trends. You are not stewarding what God is calling you to. You're just chasing speed. And that is a main reason that you are going to end up continuing to stop and start if you are chasing speed over stewardship. This is something that I did for a very long time. I wanted speed. I wanted the results. I want the quick money. I want all of the things, right? And I'm missing the whole process of the stewardship. I'm missing the fact that consistency requires process over pace. God does not bless shortcuts. He blesses true stewardship. So ask yourself, are you trying to take a shortcut? Are you trying to follow all the trends? Are you trying to get money quick? What is truly motivating you in what you are building and what you are doing? Truly ask yourself that, because if you are continuing to chase speed, you will continue to stop and start. Trust me on that. Point number 3 is you are stuck in performance over partnership. You've made it about performing instead of partnering with God. The moment you shift from, I have to figure this out, to God and I are building this together is the moment you find peace, the moment you can relax into the process because it is a God-led partnership. If you are trying to build something where you are constantly having to perform, that is the quickest way to end up stopping because performance is exhausting. Trying to constantly show up and act a certain way or prove your worth to people, especially in entrepreneurship, it's exhausting. If you are not partnered with God and allowing Him to move and work and grow you and prune you in the process, it is going to be a long journey for you. It is going to be a lot of stopping and starting. You have to partner with God and stop performing. If you've heard my story before, then you know that I built a whole platform on performing, a fitness platform that grew to a very large platform where I ended up deleting, and years of working and performing just threw away because the performing was exhausting and it was not something that was built with God. It was something that was built on me, on performing, on showing up and acting like I was something that I was not. And that became truly exhausting. So do not get stuck in that performance mode. Really focus on building a partnership with God. And I guarantee you will be way more consistent. Now, the last and final point of why we keep stopping and starting, why we struggle with inconsistency, especially when building a business, is because you haven't built discipline around your calling. Purpose itself doesn't sustain, right? We need some type of plan. We need some type of structure. If you are just basing your whole business or whatever it is that you are stepping into, if you're basing that on purpose alone, it's not going to be enough and you are going to want to quit. You have to have some type of structure, some type of discipline, some type of plan, routine to help you stay consistent. If you are just randomly showing up and randomly creating content, randomly posting YouTube, if everything is just random and sporadic, the purpose alone is not going to carry you through. Discipline is a form of worship. What I mean by that is it's showing God that you'll show up even when it's not easy. If you are disciplined in what you are doing, then it is way easier to show up. I will be honest, even today, I'm tired this morning. I did not feel like filming, but you know what? I have a routine that on certain days, I film all my content. I record my podcast. So because that discipline and that routine is there is no choice but to show up. Because I am disciplined in that routine and I know that I have to show up regardless of how I feel. If you have no routine and you leave it up to just showing up on a whim, I guarantee on days that you are tired, exhausted, didn't get enough sleep, whatever it is, you will not show up. And then you'll look up and a couple weeks go by, a couple months go by, and you have not shown up. So purpose is not enough. You have to have a disciplined routine. For me, what I've noticed that has worked best in my routine, especially in building a business and being a content creator and a podcast host, a coach, etc., I have certain days for certain things that I do. So all of my content for the week is filmed in one day. So I don't have to continue getting ready and trying to show up every day to film content. One day, film it all, keep it moving. Use the other days for other purposes. So find a routine and a structure that works for you so that you can become disciplined in your routine and you do not get inconsistent. So we've talked about 4 reasons why we are inconsistent, why we stop showing up, why we struggle with this inconsistency, right? But now let's get into how to go from this inconsistency to pushing through, how to finish what you start, how to stay consistent. Number 1, remember your why. Write down what God says. Write down the vision He's given you. Write down the idea. Write down the promises He's making to you. What are those whispers? What are those downloads that He's given you? What is the vision that you see from what He is calling you into? Write it down. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write it down and make it plain, right? This is an important step. Don't just have everything on your mind because you will easily forget that. I have a whole note in my phone where every time I get downloads from God, every time I'm in prayer or I hear something or I get a vision of something, I put it on there and mark the date. And occasionally I'll just go through it and remind myself who God said I am and why He called me into it and what the purpose of everything is. So when you start to get unmotivated, when you start to get tired, you look back and you see what God has said. Because it's easy to forget or feel like God can be silent sometimes. But if you look back at what He's already told you, you can keep pushing through and stay consistent. The second way that we are going to stop being inconsistent and start pushing through is to build a rhythm or routine. Don't focus so much on chasing perfection. Just start making progress. Create daily non-negotiables that align with what God is calling you to do. What are things each and every day, whether it doesn't matter how big or small, what are things that you can do daily that keeps you aligned with what God is calling you to do? Build that rhythm, build that routine so that you are consistently showing up no matter what. Now, number 3, feed your spirit before your goals. This one is so important when you are building a God-led business. Spiritual inconsistency breeds life inconsistencies. If you are spiritually dry, if you are not staying connected with God, if you are not disciplined and even building that relationship with God, it's going to be really hard to build a God-led business or to show up and follow through on the vision or idea that God has given you. He is the source. You have to start there. If you cannot even show up daily to stay connected to God and build a relationship with God, how do you think you're going to show up daily and show up consistently for the vision and the ideas that He has given you? Start with prayer, start with being in your word, start with worship. It focuses you, right? I've learned that especially on content days to stay engaged with the word, read, pray before, get in worship before I show up on camera, and try not to let so many outside things ruin my focus before I go into speaking or showing up, right? I want to be connected to the source when I show up. So if you are waking up and going straight into your goals and you're leaving the spiritual connection on the sideline, then you've got your goals mixed up, right? We have to continue to focus on God. Seek God first, and He will provide after, right? Read Matthew 6, verse 33 through 34. That is a verse that I consistently remind myself that the most important part is seeking God first. Not my goals, not the money goals, not trying to get clients, none of that. Seek God first and allow Him to show up for you after. Now, number 4, and we are almost done. The number 4 way to stop being inconsistent and start showing up is to get accountability and community. Isolation fuels inconsistency. If you are somebody that hides away from people, especially when life starts throwing curveballs at you, that is the easiest way to get inconsistent. There's nobody keeping you accountable. There's nothing that is forcing you to show up. Find people that remind you of the promise when you forget the process, right? That could be a spouse, that could be friends, whoever it is. Find people that will truly be able to tell you, hey, it seems like you're falling off. You're not showing up like you should be. Find that community. If you are someone that needs a community, I have a free Kingdom Glow Circle. That'll be in the description box below. You can join for free and join in on a community of women that can keep each other accountable. We have monthly Bible studies. We share encouragement. Join that. It's free and we can keep you accountable. If you have a vision or goals that God is placing in your life that you want to have accountability with, first of all, drop that in the comments and let me know what it is and I can keep you accountable. But also, join the free communities so that we women can hold each other accountable. Now, the 5th and final point for today to stop being inconsistent and start showing up fully is to rest in God's grace, but remain disciplined in your grind. Here's what I mean. Grace and rest, it's not an excuse to quit. It's giving you the strength to continue, right? A lot of times we feel like we need to be on go until we're completely burnt out, worn out. We're not taking any rest time. And rest is essential, especially when you're partnered with God on something, right? He does not call us to work crazy and burn ourselves out trying to fulfill our goals or trying to fulfill a purpose that He has given us. In fact, in Proverbs, I forget which verse, I forget which chapter, I think it's around 23, but he literally tells us to not burn ourselves out chasing money. And that is something that, especially as entrepreneurs, we like to do. We like to hustle. Grind mode, hustle culture is so huge right now that we are forgetting to take rest. We are forgetting that God has called us to rest, not to get lazy, not to get inconsistent, but to take time to rest, reconnect, and rejuvenate so that you can show up the way that God expects you to show up. So Those are all the pointers that I have for today. Some reasons why we stop and start that you may not have thought of or may not have recognized that you're doing, but also some ways that we can combat this inconsistency and start showing up fully in what God is calling us to do. So you've stopped and started enough. It is time to get consistent. It is time to take action. We are about to go into a new year. If you're watching this video before 2026, now is time to take action before we start this new year. Don't wait. Don't push it off until the new year begins. We still have 2 months to get consistent, to build routines, to get in a habit of showing up. So it is time to take action now so that you are setting yourself up going into the new year. There is so much that God can do in 2 months. So start showing up, start getting consistent, and it is time to pick up what you have stopped, what God is calling you into, that idea, that business idea, vision that he has given you. It is time to pick it back up and get consistent. So I truly hope that these pointers help you today. I hope you take them serious. If there's any that stuck out to you, drop it in the comments. If there's a vision or goal that God has given you, drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's get consistent. Let's hold each other accountable. Now, of course, there are plenty of ways and resources that I can continue helping you on your journey. So if you are someone that has an idea, but you just don't know how to execute, you need a strategy, you need a plan, you need clarity, book a free one-on-one call with me where we will talk it over. I'll help you come up with an action plan and help you figure out what is the best way to execute moving forward. It's time to do something, and it is okay to get help and to get clarity, because when I was starting out, when I was stopping and starting constantly, I wish someone would have offered me a free strategy call to help me just figure out what I need to do, right? What I need to focus on. So that is what I want to help you do. So make sure you book a free call, 15-minute call, nothing long, nothing crazy. Let's chat it over and get clarity and create an action plan. So book it while I still have a few slots left. It'll be linked below in the description. But sis, I truly hope this helps. And remember that the world does not need another version of you that quits. It needs the one that endures. God needs you to endure. He needs you to keep pushing. He needs you to not grow weary in doing good and keep showing up. So if there's any way that I can help you, drop it in the comments below. If you want to book a free call, don't forget to do that. And of course, join the free Kingdom Glow Circle if you need a community of women to continue to encourage you and push you. And you can join in on our monthly Bible studies. So go ahead, check out the resources below, and I cannot wait to talk to y'all next week. But until then, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with another sister who needs to hear this today. But I will see y'all next week. Bye.